Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 359. All right, the title of today's lesson is the difference between observe and celebrate, especially when we're talking about a holiday. Because sometimes I'll get students ask, what's the difference between observe and celebrate? All right, now this one, there's definitely some crossover, but there's definitely areas where we're probably more likely to use observe and we're more likely to use celebrate in other situations. So let's take a look at the note. Let's start. We are more likely to say that we observe a holiday if it is in reference to accepting and performing practices or rituals connected to a holiday, especially if it's in a more serious or solemn manner. Those are the times where we're more likely to say that we observe the holiday. We are more likely to say that one celebrates a holiday by doing something that is enjoyable, joyous, entertaining, etc., that is connected to a special event. Okay, let's continue. It is possible to use both for actions related to a particular holiday. So really we mean to the same holiday. So let's give an example of this. For example, it would be more suitable to say some Americans observe the 4th of July by hanging an American flag outside their house. Yeah, but I don't know, would we say celebrate? I don't know, somebody might, but we don't really celebrate. We don't jump around with the flag. It's more like something that you just observe. It's a practice that some do just to show, that they love their country or patriotism. So it's more like observing in this case. All right, let's continue. We would be more likely to say we celebrate it, celebrate the 4th of July by having a barbecue or watching the fireworks. These are typical things that people do, and this is more fun, this is more enjoyable. So you're more likely to hear the word celebrate in this sort of situation. Okay, good. In regard to Valentine's Day, this is another example. I never hear people say that they observe the holiday. We usually hear couples celebrate by giving gifts, having romantic dinners, etc. Now, to say you observe a Valentine's Day seems like it takes all the romance out of the holiday. I don't think women would like men to say they're observing it. It feels like it's more like a duty than more like they're doing it out of love or admiration for their partner. So we don't hear observe. We mostly hear celebrate with a holiday like this. So it's more for fun or enjoyment, really. All right. Yeah, let's look at another example here. We may say some Americans observe Memorial Day by visiting a war memorial to honor fallen soldiers. This is a more serious, this is a more solemn holiday. To be honest, most Americans probably do neither. They probably neither observe nor celebrate this holiday, in regard to the event, in regard to the occasion. Most people probably just think of it as a day off. They may celebrate in another way, but it really has nothing to do with a holiday. Stores like to celebrate by having sales on that day so they can make more money. They'll choose any holiday to do that. But again, this is a more serious and a more solemn one. So you're more likely to say observe, if they went to a war memorial. In Asia, there's another holiday called Tomb Sweeping Day. This is another serious and a more serious, really, holiday that we're not likely to say celebrate. This is where a lot of Asians may go to the gravesite of their ancestors and clean it off. So they may observe the holiday by doing this, by bringing some food or by cleaning their gravesite and something like this. That's why it's called Tomb Sweeping Day. So in that sort of situation, you'd probably be more likely to say observe as opposed to celebrate, because celebrate just feels out of place for that day. Okay. All right. So, again, this could be true with many different holidays. Certain actions you might say celebrate, other actions you may say observe. Observe definitely sounds more formal. There's another thing to note, though. I sometimes hear people say we will celebrate this holiday in like having a Christmas mass. Now, if you say that now, on the surface it seems kind of serious, but not really. They celebrate it because they're celebrating their religion, they're celebrating their belief in God. So in that sense, they might still say celebrate as opposed to observe. Okay, anyway, I hope you got a better feel of when we might use one instead of the other. Anyway, I hope it's clear. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.